Today we're going to learn how to draw 3D boxes, and I'm going to show you two different ways. The first box is going to be more of a rectangular box, and the second box is going to be more of a square box. And we're going to make it look like the box is wide open and things are just flying out of it. You can decide what objects you want flying out of your box, but let's go ahead and get started. So we are going to begin with the rectangular box. So right in the center of my paper, and it's okay if you have your paper vertical or horizontal, that's really your preference. I am going to do a big rectangle, just like that. And right on top of my rectangle, sitting on this one, is going to be another rectangle. So I'm going to draw two lines, trying to make sure that this space right here is the same as this space right here. And I'm going to connect those two lines. So I have my one big rectangle and my smaller rectangle sitting up on top. And now we're going to make two lines, and all of a sudden this is going to look like a box. Check this out. I'm going to come to the top of that corner of my smaller rectangle and connect it to this corner, just like this. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And now all of a sudden we have a box. Pretty cool, right? But we want this box to look like it had lids that were opened. So now we're going to make the lids of the box. So I'm going to come to this corner right here, and I'm going to make a diagonal line. And this line is going to be a short diagonal line, and I'm going to do the same thing to this corner, but this one's going to be a long one. So over here I'm going to make my line long, and I'm going to do the same thing here, but this time I'm going in this direction. So again, a diagonal line, a short one, and this one a long one. And now we're going to connect those two, here and here. So we have the side lids open. The back lid we're not going to draw because it flipped open and it's in the back, so we can't see it. And now we're going to draw the front lid. So if you come back to this line right here, you can just go ahead and trace over it back and forth so you know where it is. You are just going to trace over, and you're just going to keep going and going and going and going right about to the center of your rectangle. And I'm going to do the same thing here. So you can just trace back and forth just so you kind of get the idea of the line that you need to make. And then you're just going to keep going and going and going. And you want this one and this one to pretty much stop in the same place because we're going to connect them. So I'm going to connect these two lines just like this. And now I can erase this line and this line. And we have our 3D open box. Now we don't want our box to look like it's floating in the air. We can make it look like it's either sitting on the ground, sitting on your table, maybe it's on your front porch. Amazon just dropped it off. So we're gonna draw a line right behind this big rectangle. I'm gonna come all the way from the edge of my paper, and I'm gonna stop right here. And I'm going to come to this side, and I'm gonna go all the way to the edge of my paper right here. Okay, so once you have your 3D box, now it's really up to you to decide what kind of objects did arrive at your door from Amazon. Did you order a bunch of toys and all the toys are flying out? Maybe you're having a party and all the balloons showed up and all the balloons are flying out. Maybe it's Valentine's Day and you want hearts flying out of your box. Or it's 4th of July and you want stars and fireworks coming out of your box. You can definitely make it a holiday theme or not. I like to cut out some shapes. So I have a heart, I have a candy, and I have a balloon. You can either make these shapes out of pieces of paper and create stencils, meaning you trace it over and over and over again to make it easier, or you can just free draw it. Maybe you want a bunch of different objects, a variety of objects. For the sake of this video, I am going to do hearts. So you can either, again, cut one out and trace it over and over, or just draw it freehand. So I am going to trace mine. I'm going to put one right here, and I'm going to trace around my heart. Stencils definitely make it easier for you when you are drawing something and you're trying to draw it more than once. And maybe there's another one, but this one's going to look like it's behind this one. So I am going to place it right on top right here, but I'm not going to trace the bottom of it. I'm only going to trace the top of it because the bottom of it is behind the other heart. Just like that. And if we want to make it look like one of our hearts is coming out of the box, maybe I'm going to do it kind of just like this. This one's getting ready to fly out of the box. So I'm only drawing the top of it because the other side of it is in the box. Erase this line. See how it looks like this one is still tucked inside the box? And we can do a few of those. So maybe another one right here. And again, draw light, boys and girls, because as you can see, I am doing a lot of erasing. We want to make sure we don't have lines going through our hearts. Our hearts are not see-through. And maybe there's another one here. And notice also how I am drawing the hearts in different directions. I can even do a heart upside down if I wanted to. And now we're going to draw our second box. Our second box is the shape of a square and it has a few more steps. We're going to show 4 lids instead of just the 3. And we are going to begin with a long horizontal line. So you can find the center of your paper and just draw a long horizontal line across your paper, making sure not to touch the edges of your paper. Okay, and now right in the center of that horizontal line, if you want, you can make like a little mark just so that you can make sure it's the center. We are going to make a shorter vertical line. So it's not going to be as long as the horizontal line. And I'm going to erase maybe just a little bit off the top. And now I'm going to connect these edges. So I'm going to connect this one to here, 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 and here. Okay, so once you have connected, it kind of looks like a diamond. You can erase this original horizontal line. So hopefully you drew nice and light. You know our motto, draw light until you get it right. And now to each corner, we're going to do 2 lines almost like letter V's. So a letter V here, 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 and then an upside down letter V here. So right to this corner, I'm going to do a letter V. And this V is going to be a short V. This one down here is going to be an upside down V, and it's going to be longer than that one, much longer. So I'm going to make this one much longer. And now I'm going to do a sideways V here, but this one's going to have a long side and a short side. So the side on top is going to be the longer side. It's going to come off the edge of my paper actually. And this one's going to be a shorter side. Same thing over here. The top one's going to be a longer side. And the bottom one is going to be a shorter side. And now this is going to make our lids. So I'm just going to connect this one to this one, this one to this one, this one to the bottom one, and this one to the other bottom one. Okay, and as you can see, one thing we've learned is as things get farther away, they get smaller. So you can see how this area is wider than this area. So we have the top of our box. So now we're going to make the sides of our box. So you can come to the center line and you're just going to keep going and going, and you're going to keep going and going and going. Okay, you can make it as tall or as short as you like, and you're going to make 2 more lines. Just make sure that this line in the center is a lot longer than these next 2 lines that we're going to make. So this is the corner of our box. Now we need to make the other 2 corners. So I'm going to come to this corner right here, and I'm going to make another line here, not as long as this one. This one's going to be a shorter one, and you can either go through your lid and then erase it later. I like to just jump over it. So I go from here and just jump over it and go down about halfway, not as long as this one. And I'm going to do the same thing here. And when I make this line, I want to make sure that it's the same as that one. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to jump over, and I'm going to stop right about there. And now I'm just going to connect it. So I'm going to go from this one to this one, this one to this one. So there you go. You have your 3D square open box. And just like the first one, we don't want to make it look like it's just floating in air. So you can just draw 2 simple lines on either side of your box. And you can begin thinking about what you want floating out of your box. Again, it could be anything you want. It could be a variety of objects. You can make the stencils like I showed you with the first box. And keep in mind that when you do go to draw your objects, you want to make sure that some of them look like they're still inside the box. So for example, if I was going to do balloons here, maybe I would do this balloon a little bit further down like this, and I would only trace the top of my balloon, or only draw the top of my balloon, and maybe another one looking like it's just flying out of this box like this. And remember, any lines that are going through your object, the box lines, you can erase them once you draw your object. So we want to make it look like this balloon is coming out of the box. So we have to erase all of those lines. And you can keep adding more and more.